Thank you very much, David, for this introduction. And you already said it all. What is it about self-confidence? It is something where you can take action. It is not something we are born with. It is actually a skill, and increasing our level of self-confidence is a 100% inside job. And I think that is good news, because that means that you have it in your own hands if you want to act upon this. And there is one very crucial thing that you have to do for that, and that is taking action. And we'll go in this workshop in learning how to take action and which actions exactly you personally on a unique level can take to clear the stage for your own self-confidence. So we will approach this in a more playful way. This helps you to a bit step out of your limits and step out of your usual way of thinking. And it helps you to create refreshing and concrete ideas on what you can do to increase this level of self-confidence. Now, as your ideas are so precious, I transform this workshop for you into a treasure quest. So you will go actually on a quest for your inner riches, where you will find all these little gemstones that you can act upon right after this workshop or after this weekend or whenever you want to start, to increase the level of self-confidence that you have in your life. Now, I would like you to, if you don't have it handy, you need a paper, you need a pen, you need something to work. Yeah, you have a lot of things to write down, a lot of findings that you will get in this workshop. So I would like you to grab a paper and a pen. I'll just go into gallery view to see you a bit better. Okay, are you ready? You look ready, most of you? Cool. So what I just mentioned before was about you need to take action to increase your self-confidence. There are things you can do about this. And one top action to increase self-confidence is to try something new on a regular basis. Now, why is this efficient? Because when you try something new, you are actually learning by doing. And learning by doing is the most efficient learning method that exists. It's much more efficient than learning by reading, by watching me or watching someone else, or by listening to someone, for example. Learning by doing is helping you to embed experiences. And when you try something new, you get a compensation on the other side, because you learn that you had the courage to take action, that you had the courage to do something new. You will probably feel strong about yourself afterwards, and you will probably feel proud about yourself afterwards as well. And this makes a big difference in how you feel about yourself. And when you do this on a regular basis, well, then you create confidence over time. Now you might say, well, this is really easy. It's so simple, obviously, and everybody maybe knows that. Well, the question is, why is not everybody doing this? And why are out there so many people, including me, who lack self-confidence, at least from time to time? None of my clients is not lacking self-confidence. It's really something that we all face, and that most people don't see in others, because others often appear very confident, whereas inside it's a different story. So why is it not happening? Yeah, when it's so simple. Well, there is a very clear thing about this. When you want to try something new, and when this something new is maybe something that is even a little bit more difficult for you, then you have to step out of your comfort zone. And how many of you know what is the direct neighbor of our comfort zone? Maybe raise your hands if you know, without shouting out. What is it? The direct neighbor of our comfort zone, surrounding all of our comfort zone, is the fear zone. And you had to get into and across the fear zone to get into a growth and learning zone. And this is the problem, yeah? Nobody wants to get into this fear zone. And we need some courage. We need to overcome some inner obstacles to make this step. And when we want to try something new that is for us relatively difficult, well, this fear zone is pretty large and we have to cross it, and we can feel that. Now, the good news about the fear zone is that as it is difficult to overcome, it takes you energy, but the compensation on the other end is very high. So if you set yourself goals where you try something new that is rather difficult, your compensation means the feeling about yourself, how proud you are about yourself, how strong you feel inside, is also bigger. And this is why it makes sense to do some bolder steps from time to time, when it comes to trying out something new. Now, let's go right away into the first exercise. And this is about defining for yourself now 5 new things. All right, put it on here that you can see that. That's better. 5 new things that you will do probably in the next 2 weeks. 5 new things that you can do. Just write them down. They can be small, they can be big, whatever you think is possible for you in the next 2 weeks. I'll give you a minute for that. Yeah? Are you done with it? Five new things. If it's more, it's more. That's good. Okay, so now you do something relatively simple. You rank them now. You rank them into those which are easy for you, where you feel like, yeah, this is new, sure, but it's pretty easy. I can do that without big obstacles. Why not? And these are the easy ones. And then there are the other ones which are probably difficult. If you have those where you see, oh, I put this down, but seriously, I'm not sure if I will make that because, wow, that requires a lot of courage. And yeah, I wrote it down. It's a bit of a challenge. I don't know. That's the difficult ones. And then they have the other ones which are in between. So you just rank them. You can write this next to your 5 actions. If they are easy, if they are medium, or if they're difficult for you. Fine, I guess. It was probably not difficult in ranking them, I can imagine. So how many of you, if you just raise your arms, those who are on video, how many of you have at least one difficult one? Raise your hand. Good. Congratulations, because you found a first gemstone, or maybe several ones. So you can write down maybe on a separate sheet of paper the number of gemstones you found here, because these are the difficult steps that you can make. And I can only encourage you to make these steps truly and to take action upon these as soon as possible, because when you do it, you will see how you feel differently about yourself. And they are precious because you will cross your fear zone and because you will feel truly different about yourself afterwards. Now, when you have the feeling, yeah, but actually, I'm not really sure if I can take action upon these. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult. Then I can give you 2 tips here for any kind of difficult action you have to take. The first is when you think about the action you have to take, ask yourself honestly, how many seconds of courage does it actually take to do this? And it's not about the days where you ruminate ahead of the time already. It's not about the hours where you're really nervous before the challenge or what you're doing. It's really about how many seconds of courage does the actual action take. If you have to go, for example, ask someone something difficult or start a difficult conversation, how many seconds does it take you to overcome this last little threshold and to open your mouth and speak up? Or how many seconds does it take to jump from an airplane, for example, because this is what you think is a wonderful challenge? How many seconds? And this is a very short period of time. And if you focus on really bundling your courage for this short moment and then go for it, it's a different approach than if you put all your energy already days before or maybe weeks before because you're so afraid of doing something really courageous. That's one thing. The second thing that you can do is to be very clear about the worst case scenario. What is the worst that can happen to you? And often we shy away from doing this. We have fears, and fears are probably very unconcrete. Yeah, they're very conceptual. Somehow it does not work out. Okay, but what exactly does that mean? And more importantly, what does this to you? Will you still be alive afterwards? Probably yes. I mean, if you jump from an airplane and you have a technical problem, probably not. But I mean, in any different other situations in your life, you have to speak up, you have to ask for something, you have to make a challenging presentation, speak in front of a lot of people, whatever it is. You will be still alive afterwards. Yeah, you will still be around, you will still be yourself. So when you are very clear on what is my worst case scenario, and okay, maybe this is not great for me, but I will still be around and I can try a second time. I can try even a third time or fourth time if I want. And if you're clear about that, then you can allow yourself to think that the true success when trying out something new is not what you succeed with this afterwards. It is because you have tried. You are a success because you have tried. And that is the whole point here, making the step and do it. And whatever the outcome is, you can be proud about yourself because you have done it. So that is action number one. Try something new and don't underestimate it, because if you do it only once, you feel only once great about yourself, and 2 weeks later you have forgotten it. But if you do something on a regular basis and you make this a habit, it changes quite a lot in the way how you see yourself. Now, the second action is stop procrastination. So something that we all hear very often, I think. Stop procrastination, stop postponing things, keep your word, stick to your intentions, and stick to what you plan to do. And why is that related to self-confidence, you wonder now? Well, just imagine, you tell yourself, tomorrow morning I get up at 7, I go running. And then tomorrow morning at 10 to 7, you think, oh, it's really cold outside today, it's really windy. Finally, I don't go, I go another day. How this does make you feel about yourself. And if you go running, despite the wind, how does this make you feel about yourself? So actually, when we tell us something that we want to do, we create a promise. And if we don't stick to this promise to ourselves, we create a deception. And we think we are not worthy, we are not keeping our word, we always do that, we are lazy, whatever. We treat ourselves usually with very harsh words when we do not stick to our own promises. And if you do this, well, imagine you do this to a friend, what would this do to your friend? They would feel probably really bad about themselves. So if you do this to yourself, you create a negative thought about yourself. And when you create negative thoughts, you accumulate a lot of negative feelings about yourself. We have 70,000 thoughts per day. And these thoughts are, according to studies, for over 80% negative. A Harvard University study says even 95%. That's crazy. 95% of negative thoughts. Our thoughts are around worry, anxiety, and a vast majority are turning around these mini procrastinations that we have during the day. Like, in the next break in this conference, I will eat an apple because this is healthy. And then you have the break and you think, oh no, I better eat an ice cream. And then you create, again, a mini procrastination because you procrastinate the apple to whenever another break, yeah? And you like the ice cream, great, sugar boost, but you feel not really great about yourself. Again, you tell yourself, yeah, again, I'm just not sticking to this. And when you create this often throughout the day, and we all do this, you create negative feelings, and about your self-worth, well, is diminished bit by bit all the time. So the next exercise, logically, is about reflecting, what are you currently procrastinating on? It's just think about this question pretty openly. It can be small things again, it can be big things again. What are you postponing at the moment, or regularly, for example? Good. So whatever you have on your list now, and we will extend this list in 1 minute a little bit more. If you have on this list now big actions, big things that you procrastinate for a long time because they require you to step out of your comfort zone, a little bit like with the try something new. It requires a lot of courage. It requires a lot of energy. If you have one like this, please mark it. It's another gemstone. A little, very similar gemstone probably to what we did in the first exercise. How many of you have a big thing that you procrastinate on? Can you raise your hand? A few, yeah. We all have them, basically. I mean, we all have something that we sometimes procrastinate on already for a year or even more. Now, we go into a little bit differently, because here, what is very important, and I said it in the introduction of this one task, you have these mini procrastinations all day long. And in the next exercise, I would like you to reflect on the mini procrastinations. Means during the day, how often are you not doing what you plan to do? For example, mini things like, before 1:30, I send out the email to this person, and then you don't do it, you do it later, or you at 1 hour later, you realize, I haven't done this. And what you tell is, I'm such an idiot, I've forgotten that again. Yeah, not nice for your self-confidence again. These little mini things, they're very difficult to see. They make a huge impact. So please find, and this is a little bit more tricky because they're not so obvious, mini procrastinations, mini things where you do not stick to your word. Write down, try to find 10, try to find as much as possible for the next, let's do 48 seconds. It's exactly the good timing. Okay. How many of you were able to really find in this very short time frame 10 mini procrastinations? How many found 5? Okay, that's already quite good. So the mini procrastinations here are 1 gemstone each. They're worth a lot. It's not like with the try something new little things where you don't have to take any courage, where you didn't get any gemstones for. Here, it makes a difference. Why? Because if you look at these mini procrastinations, and if you want to reflect on this a bit more when you have a bit of time, they probably repeat very often. And if you do something or not doing something, procrastinating on something every day, or maybe several times a day, the same thing, then it adds up to hundreds of times in a year. Can you imagine how much time you spend by not doing this and by telling yourself that you're not good enough because you're not doing this? Can you imagine the weight that this has in your life in terms of your own self-worth and how you think about yourself? These little things make a huge difference, and they operate from the background. This is why they are very hard to see, because they're so small, so insignificant. At least they seem to be very insignificant. So there is a real treasure which you can dig out there to create a higher level of self-awareness, where a low level of self-confidence is nurtured all the time. Now we go into the next exercise, and this next exercise is not an exercise like taking action like the 2 before. We have now 2, try something new, stop procrastination. These are 2 action points. The next one is rather a reflection to find new things you're good at, a new perspective on these things, and to maybe somehow dig out a new strength that you were not aware of so far. And for this, I would like you to think about a person of your private life and a person of your professional life. Both people like you a lot, or they even love you. Yeah, people who appreciate you a lot can be a former colleague, somebody you worked with even 20 years ago. It doesn't matter, but someone from your professional life and from your private life. Define these 2 people for yourself. Now you can write down your names if you want to, but probably you don't have to. And now just go into a reflective piece, and I give you a little bit more time for that, a good minute, a bit more, where you now ask yourself, what would this person say about you when this person is asked what you are good at? What would he or she say about what you are good at? And please write this down, not from your own perspective. Write this down from what you think this person would say. And when there are things coming up where you think this is not right, write them down anyway, because if this person would say this about you, write it down without a filter. Just go for it for a good minute. Fine. You found a few things? Good. You take the same, do exactly the same thing now, but with a person from your professional life. What would this person say about you when he or she is asked what you're good at? Write this down again, without a filter. Okay? Do you have now a nice, decent list of at least a few things in both areas, professional, private life, person? You do? I hope so. If you look at this list, are there things in there where you think, oh, I haven't seen that like that, or oh no, I don't believe that? Do you have things like that? Or things which are kind of new, at least to a certain level? Yeah. Whatever you found in there where you believe that you're not good at this at the extent that this person sees it in you, or where you have something maybe completely surprising where you think, oh, I have never thought about that, but probably she or he will say this about me. Or if you have something that you just hadn't on your radar at all for a while, where you thought this was not at all on my personal list of strengths so far. These are the gemstones of this exercise, because they are different from what you see in yourself. Now you might say, well, this is not a reality, because they like me. So they have like pink glasses on when they look at me and they think I'm great at this. Yeah. There's something about reality. Reality is relative. You decide what your reality is. Yeah. There is no one true reality about yourself. You can also decide the reality is that whatever people who do not like you say about you is true. That's a very dark reality. But you can also decide that finally, these two people know you well, I guess. They know you. And maybe they know you even better than you know yourself, because they do not have these very self-critical glasses on. They are not perfectionists about you. They see something maybe with a filter that is maybe less of a filter than your own one. And you can decide to say, hey, finally, if this person sees in me someone who is extremely creative, where I feel not creative at all, maybe I am actually creative. Maybe my own expectation of creativity is just too high. You can decide to see yourself in a different light. And if you want to back this up a little bit, just go out and ask these two people what they think, what they would say to someone when you ask what you're good at. And you will see what feedback you get. And then don't diminish it. Don't answer with thank you, but yeah, actually I'm not as good. Yeah, compliments. Never answer with thank you, but you stop, say, thank you, dot, finish. Yeah, thank you for this compliment, not but. We all do that. I also hold myself back all the time to not doing this anymore, I must say. It's really difficult. Okay, so here the gemstones are everything that is for you feeling like, oh, too positive, to make it simple. How many of you found gemstones? I think you found gemstones. Don't forget them. Yeah, they're true. This is a reality which you can embrace. Now we go into a last exercise, and the last exercise is a very, very calm piece, because we will now do a guided visual experience. And I will really invite you to listen to me for like 6-7 minutes. It's not very long, where you will experience something inside of yourself, and where you might also want to stand up at some point, not in the beginning, but maybe leave the space at least so that you can do that if you want later. And where you just listen and just let it flow, and I don't put any other preparation in, we just maybe start. So if you're sitting comfortably on your chair, then I would just invite you now to close your eyes and to take a deep breath in and out. And you can maybe feel how your breathing goes into your body and where it goes there. And you start to relax a bit. And now I would like you to go back to an experience in the past, a moment in your life where you felt truly confident about yourself. It can be in your childhood, it can be yesterday. And in this experience, in the past, this moment, you felt confident. Maybe you achieved something great. Maybe you were just doing something you were really good at, and you felt confident. Go into this situation and visualize it very concretely in front of your inner eyes. And now you make sure that you watch the situation out of your own eyes. And you might have to slip from the outside into your body to experience the situation from your own eyes. Turn the sound on. What are you hearing? Is there maybe a smell? And what are you doing now? And how do you feel? And I wonder if you can feel this confidence that you had in this very moment. And maybe you can feel this confidence in a specific place in your body. Somewhere where the confidence probably has its origin. And to connect to this confidence, you might want to put a hand to this place in your body to create a stable connection. And now turn your inner eyes towards this place. Can you see the energy there? Is there maybe a color? Something moving? A cloud? And I wonder if you can now try to make this energy bigger, to extend to neighbor areas in your body. Maybe you can send them up into your chest, fill the whole chest. And from there you send it into your shoulders, to your elbows, into your hands, until you can feel it tingling in your fingertips. And you can send it down as well into your legs, through your knees, into your feet, until you feel it tingling in your toes. And up again, maybe in your head, through your throat, up into your head. So you can feel this energy in every tissue and pore of your body. And now that you're full of this energy, maybe your body wants to move into a different position. Maybe your back wants to straighten up, your neck. Maybe you want to stand up or sit differently. Or your hands and arms want to move into a different position. And when you're feeling this energy in your body and how you can express this for yourself, you can feel that confidence is a resource that is everywhere within you. And we don't know how that happens, how new things can emerge, how new learnings can take place. And now, if you want to, you can come back gradually and in time by taking another deep breath in and out. And come back to this room and open your eyes. And switch your video on if you want. So, this was a very short visual experience. Usually I do these things for like 20 minutes or longer so that you have really the time to immerse into a former experience. But it's a very simple exercise. If you do this, you can regenerate any kind of positive feeling you want to dig out in yourself. And you wait until you feel it in your body, because this is how you can connect to it. This is where your subconscious locates this in you. And there's even scientific studies who prove that every human being locates any emotion we have in a specific place in our body. So if you find this place, we create a connection. That's a huge gemstone, a gemstone that you have when you found the place of your self-confidence. You can connect to it. Wonderful gemstone that you found. The next one, and this might take a little bit longer and we have to do this exercise maybe more often, but maybe some of you did this. If you find a posture that expresses this, then you found your own personal power pose. Now we hear that often. You can Google power poses like standing like this or standing like this, whatever, yeah? And this helps, but your own personal power pose is more powerful than any power pose you can Google. So it is your personal one. If you found this one, you will feel everything that you felt when you were creating this emotion. It really comes up. And you can use this power pose, your personal, unique power pose of self-confidence, to try something new, to make the bold steps, to stop procrastination, to overcome this, and to do the bold things that you want to do in your life. And by the way, I found just quickly a question where I thought I have to come back to. Before we said about procrastinating the little things during the day, where there was the question, but yes, if I do it later in the day, does it count? Certainly it does. I'm not maybe 100%, but certainly it does, because if you didn't do it in the first place, you already betrayed yourself in a way. Yeah, so it normally does. Yeah, exception would be if what you do afterwards is so much more and better than what you would have done in the first place, that it kind of covers or compensates for the deception which you created with not doing it right in the beginning. So now you have a lot of gemstones there normally. I don't know how many, if you really counted them, if you really checked them, who has over 10? Yeah? If you want more, you search in the mini procrastination area. There are loads. There are really a lot. Some of them are really more powerful than others, like the power pose, the position of confidence in your body. These are very big diamonds. Yeah, they're very special, and they can really help you on your way to clear the stage for more self-confidence. And it's now really about doing something with it. Because as I said before, knowledge is one thing. Creating a higher level of self-awareness is a very good start if you want to increase whatever you want to increase or develop within yourself. But at the end, it only makes a difference when you take action upon this, when you truly do something about this. And when you decide that you will do this also over a specific period of time, because you cannot change your level of self-confidence with one action only. Then you have it in this very moment. It makes a big difference, but it doesn't help you in the future on a sustainable level. And old patterns, old behaviors, old ways of thinking about ourselves are coming back like boomerangs. And this is what we all suffer from. And we know this from any other habit that we need to or want to install in our lives. If you're not doing sports, you want to do sports. We all know how difficult that is to finally make this a habit and not giving up after a week or 2 or 3 already. And with self-confidence, it's the same thing. It's like a muscle. You can train it, you can work on it, and you have everything you need inside of yourself. And so I don't know, we are really good on time. It's exactly 10:40. I'm very proud of myself, and I increase my self-confidence because I was sticking exactly to the timing. And we can open up, if you like to, for questions now.
Wonderful. So already, please, let's put our hands together for Ulrike. Wonderful, Ulrike. Thank you so much. I particularly liked your suggestion here for a personal power pose and finding that. And I'd also like to compliment you as an executive voice coach on your meditation, the beauty with which your voice resonated. I both had one eye closed and one eye open to watch how people received your voice. It was very beautiful. So we will take questions now for Ulrike. So please, if you haven't already opened the Google form, do so. And my team here will advise if we have some questions. So there was one question brought forward earlier, Ulrike, which asks how to match divergent and convergent thinking, whether you have any thoughts there in regards to, obviously, the conference title, but some thoughts on convergent thinking as well.
So I think divergent thinking, to start with that first, is obviously something that goes a little bit into this try something new area. So yes, there you have more obvious probably potential to do something. Whereas with the convergent thinking, I think that there's quite some potential there too, because we often take the normal things for granted, yeah, and we don't even pay attention to when we are doing something great, because it's maybe something that we do every single day and we don't even care about that anymore. And I think when I do an interpretation in this sense, then about the convergent thinking and more of the normal things that we do in our lives, to create this level of gratefulness for that, and being not grateful what we get from the outside only, but also from what we do simply, yeah, to be really grateful and thankful to ourselves for the simple, small, normal things that are maybe repetitive, and congratulating ourselves for these is very helpful too, because we overlook them. We always think we have to do the big new things and only then we are valuable. And I think we are missing a big bunch of gemstones, to come back to this image, if we don't go for the normal things as well.
Absolutely. I guess converting our mini procrastinations into moments of gratitude there. That's wonderful. Thank you, Ulrike. We have another question here. How can you keep your confidence for a long time and continuously? So if there is a strategy over time that you would suggest here?
That's exactly what I said maybe in the beginning. The two things about trying something new and having a true eye on your procrastination. Yeah, procrastination, really don't take it as just something that is not perfect. It's something that harms you. See it like this, see it really like something where you can act upon. And the trying new, this is a wonderful thing over time. And make yourself a plan, maybe a monthly plan, for example, where you make a mix of small things so that it's not always difficult and always hard, yeah. But make a list of small things, what you can do maybe once a week, very consciously. I try something new, and not only trying this and forgetting immediately about it, but flavoring and enjoying the moment when you have done it. Congratulating yourself, really celebrating the fact that I tried this. How do I feel? Locating your body again, you know, can use all these techniques together, and by this create a connection to your self-confidence, a very conscious connection. And when you do this regularly, you'll see it becomes very, very easy to connect with it over time. And then it becomes a habit, and this is a long-term thing. And like any long-term thing, don't give it up when you just feel well, because then you will realize 6 months, nothing done consciously about it. Oh, you're suddenly falling back into an old version of yourself, which was less confident.
Wonderful. And this relates to a third question we've received. What is the ideal plan to improve our confidence? Taking step by step or a leap of faith? But I think you've just answered that here in there as well. There's one other question here. Again, I'm trying to do three things at once. So forgive me if this question has also been answered, but maybe you can reiterate the point to bring that home. Somebody has asked, am I correct that your definition of procrastination is that you are not delivering on a committed deadline? I actively decide if there is a deadline and use my unconscious mind, slow thinking, to solve challenges that are not time critical and experience huge success with much less effort, fast thinking. So maybe this is the thinking fast and slow idea from Daniel Kahneman.
Yes, the procrastination, which I mean is really harmful to your confidence, is the one where you have a concrete deadline. I mean, if you don't have a deadline, well, no, let's say it differently. It's all about what you tell yourself at the end. It's not really about the deadline or not, but the likelihood that you tell yourself off, yeah, that you treat yourself, whatever, you haven't done it again, it's always like that, you never make it on time, these kind of thoughts or other negative thoughts. When they come up, this is actually the criteria we have to watch out for. So if a procrastination has a deadline, then it's pretty likely that you tell yourself off in a certain way when you have not met the deadline. If there's no deadline, maybe at some point you will tell yourself off as well, because you feel it's just too slow. I'm not really moving on. Maybe I have to, but as soon as you have a negative feeling about yourself, something bad is happening actually. And if you learn to watch out a bit of how you feel, by the way, a good tip there, because you think how can I observe 70,000 thoughts a day? There's no way. Yeah, there is no way, that's true. But there's one way how you can watch out more and care more about yourself. Listen how you feel in your body. Do you feel well in your belly? Yeah, and as soon as you don't, you can ask yourself, what have I thought in the last 30 seconds? And there you have a signal. So just listen. If you don't feel great about yourself, why not? What happened in your mind?
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. There's a fourth question here. What do you think is the most crucial thing in order to build self-confidence, something to hold on to when you fail yourself?
The most critical thing is about understanding, first of all, that failure is always a learning, and it's not because you failed that you are not a success. For me, you're always a success because you tried. That is the difficult thing. It's not the difficult, it can be difficult to succeed, obviously, but it's not the point of always succeeding. It's the point of trying. Most people don't have the courage. You stand out as soon as you try. Most people do not even try. They're holding back. They're don't doing it. That is for me the crucial point. Try, go out, do it, and feel good about trying, and not only about succeeding what is coming afterwards.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Ulrike, you created your own business in 2019, and you've been in the communications area for over 20 years. And you've also climbed the corporate ladder to do this work, or have done work with your executive committee of an international pharmaceutical company. So you've worked with leaders, and Toastmasters is all about leadership as well. And let me ask you, these ideas, these techniques, this confidence building, do you see that the executives in the pharma industry that you worked with also face these same challenges? Or did they somehow have something ahead of them that we can also take as a gemstone?
Well, they face the same challenges. I think it's crazy, but well, it's not. Everybody faces these challenges. As soon as someone starts working with me, no matter the level, no matter how high up in the hierarchy, no matter how successful, they start admitting they have a lack of self-confidence. And the perception of this is very individual. It can be very high, it can be only from time to time in specific challenges. What I realize with clients who are also very high up in the hierarchy ladder, the more you climb up, the more obviously you have challenges which are big at work. You have big tasks, big projects. The more you step out of your comfort zone once more. And with each of these steps higher up, you step into another zone. And in this other zone, you need another level of self-confidence. And this is why they have to build it exactly the same way than someone who starts on the bottom. Because wherever you are in, you need a specific level of confidence in yourself, a specific energy. And you have to grow with it if you don't want to feel overwhelmed and playing a role and really just not being able to manage it anymore.
Wonderful. Well, Ulrike Seminati, please, everyone, put your hands together for her and thank her for her wonderful workshop. Wonderful. Thank you. So clearing the stage with self-confidence. We've played the game. You've got your gemstones, and you've deserved now a break.